You're listening to Murder Not Murdering with Erin,
and Autumn,
a true crime podcast about murder and murdering.
but we are not murderers.
All right, everybody, we are back and we're back together this week.
Together again.
Yep, that's right. We are together again.
I listened to your minisode and I was laughing the whole time. It was like you were talking to me because you knew exactly what I would say and what I was thinking. And I did have that on the list to cover.
I knew you did. I knew you were going to say that.
So it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, she finished it for me. That works.
Yep, like I said, I beat you to it.
You did.
It was such a you case, too. Not only was it local, but then it also had the unsolved mysteries sort of vibe and everything. I just thought, oh man, this is so Autumn. I knew you'd like it.
It was awesome.
Yeah. This week, we've both got cases for you. Mine's a little bit long. I don't remember who goes first. Do you?
I went first on the last episode, but then you did a mini-sode, so really, whatever you want.
I think you go first. I think you go first on this one.
I can go first if you want me to.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, man. She makes me do all the heavy lifting here. She makes me edit. She makes me go first. Bring back the recordings when we start.
She is such a liar.
It's like no one's ever listened to an episode before and know that I'm a total liar.
Yep. Lies on lies.
It's true. It's true.
Thank God you get the facts right.
I know. That's true. I do get facts right. That's important to me. You can trust me, everybody.
No. You can trust her in her cases.
Yes. Hey, wait.
And to be honest, I think I'm probably the bigger fibber than out of the two of us.
Yes, to be honest, Erin is the bigger fibber.
I'm more of like
I mean, she doesn't lie, but she fibs.
No, it's like pranks.
Yes.
I've pranked. We've talked about this in the past. I've pranked you a lot.
Yes. My whole freaking friendship with you is a huge prank.
You've been very gullible. And I can't help myself. It's not my fault, see?
And it's genetic because her daughter is the same.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I have a dark sense of humor already. And then when Autumn tells me she's feeling nervous about not being at home and staying at a hotel, I have to make up a ghost story and then send her pictures.
Pictures, yes, to accompany this
that I just Googled,
story that
mind
she
you.
made up.
Mm-hmm. And make up a whole entire backstory on these creepy people that I literally Googled creepy people pictures.
Uh-huh. This is also very, very true.
It's good times.
Do you do that to Josh?
No, he never goes anywhere without me, obvi. Yeah. And also he would just be like...
goes a lot of places. Well, for work,
I feel like Josh would just be like, okay.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have cared either. But I'm like, oh, crap. And then I have to research it. And then 15, 20 minutes later, I text her, why did you lie?
Josh would probably be like, well, because at first you'll be like, oh my God, Erin, you're joking. Yes. You've got to be kidding me. Oh my God.
This can't be true.
Yeah. And then I usually am like, yeah, because it's not true.
She's a good storyteller.
I'm a good story. It's true. It's true. Yeah, I think Josh would just be like, I don't care. And he's like, what are you?
He's probably like, are they friendly?
Are you going to do it on your podcast?
Yeah. Are they friendly? Are they going to bring me a snack later?
He doesn't believe in that shit. Are you kidding me?
What?
Yeah.
This is news to me.
Josh is not a believer in the paranormal.
Oh, man. I did not know this.
I outed him to you now.
You did. Dustin doesn't either, so.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't think that he doesn't believe. I just think that he's very, much like Josh. He doesn't think about it.
I just think he does. I think Josh doesn't care.
Yeah. Dustin doesn't care either. If he saw a ghost, he'd be like, "What up?" And like that would be it. He then maybe he'd believe.
I don't think Josh would say anything. I think Josh would be like, whatever, I'm moving on with my day. I don't think he would care at all.
Well, I would be frozen in fear. I will not lie.
I don't know if I would be scared.
If I knew the person, if it was like a loved one, then I wouldn't be afraid. But if it was somebody that I did not know, I would probably be frozen in fear.
I think I'd just sort of be like, whoa, that outfit seems outdated for this time. And kind of be like, I wonder what's going on. I might have said something like, hi, excuse me, hello?
Hell no. This would be life-changing. It would be a canon event for me. And
it would be everything.
Not forget.
No, I think I would be more inquisitive than anything else.
Me, no.
Do you remember when we used to watch like Ghost Detectives or whatever the fuck that show was? And they go in paranormal investigators and they go in things. We would talk on the phone while we were watching it. And there was this really lame dude. And actually one of my favorite comedians and his friend do a spoof on them. That's so hilarious. Mateo Lane is a comedian and he's really funny. Look it up if you're at all interested. It's fucking hilarious. They'll like do fake investigations, but it's so close to the way that the real thing is that it's too funny.
Ghostwriter?
I'm going to send it to you. I don't know. No, it was like a TV show with...
yeah, Ghostwriter was a TV show.
I don't know. It was real, though, Autumn. Ghostwriter was a TV show that kids watched.
Yeah, but we were kids, so I don't know what you're talking
We were not kids. We were teenagers when we met. We weren't like little kids. Ghostwriter's for little kids.
I did not watch it as a little kid.
Now we know something new about you. No, I'm talking about like paranormal investigators, and there's this guy, I think the main guy's name is like Zach, and he's going into this old place. Yeah,
I think it was called like this Paranormal Society or something like that.
I don't remember. But anyway, it was hilarious because the guy was just super lame, and he would go out there and be like, walk into a room and he's like,
Ghost Adventures or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. He'd be like, what, are you going to fight me? I'm here to get fought with. I'll find the ghost and I'll tell them off.
A really deep voice.
Yeah, it was really funny.
I remember that now.
Anyways, there was a little segue into that. I don't have anything related to ghosts at all in my story, but there you are.
Neither do I. Actually, mine has a little bit of tie into my professional life.
Ooh, I'm excited now.
Yes. So here it goes, guys.
All right, guys.
Guys. I mean, I am awkward. Here I am going first, trying to segue into my story, but here we go.
Guys.
Guys and gals.
Theys and thems.
Theys and thems and people and
people. Just end it at people. That's fine.
Okay.
Moving on.
Here we go. Today, I'm stepping into a case that feels like something straight out of a thriller. It's a story filled with twists, unanswered questions, and a murder that seems almost too perfect. But was it? Today's case takes us to Redmond, Washington, a quiet suburban area outside of Seattle, where a successful real estate agent named Mike Emert was brutally murdered in 2001. His life was snuffed out in an execution-style killing. But the question is, who was behind it and why?
I don't think I ever heard about this.
I don't remember it either.
That's weird. I feel like this would be like front page news.
It was. I just don't know why we weren't paying attention.
Nah, I have no idea.
It took everything in me not to say why, like Robert Stack does. The why.
Why?
Why? What? Why? Who? I'm like, oh, man.
Cool whip. Yeah. Gotcha.
But for those that don't know, and I'm not going to say specifically what I do because I just don't want to dox myself, but it is real estate related. So this is kind of close to home in a way.
Adjacent. Yeah.
Yes. Mike and Mary Beth.
Love that.
Okay, hold on. I need to take a glass of water before I start this part.
I'm making this a mini clip.
Great. Can't wait. Can't wait. Mike and Mary Beth Emert seemed to have it all. They were prosperous partners in the Seattle area real estate market and had been married for years. They lived in the quiet, affluent neighborhood of Redmond, Washington. To the outside world, they were the epitome of success, well-respected, wealthy, and living the American dream. But as we know, sometimes those perfect facades are hiding dark secrets. On January 4th, 2001, that picture-perfect life came crashing down. It all started that morning. Mike had set up a meeting with a man named Steven, who was interested in buying a property that Mike had shown him the day before. They planned to meet at a local mall in Woodinville, a quiet suburban town about 20 minutes from Redmond. It was around 11:30 a.m. when they first met. Steven, a man in his 50s, had a limp and carried a cane. Mike and Steven left the mall and made their way to a secluded house in Woodinville, a home sitting on a private lot, far removed from the neighboring properties. At 12:30 p.m., something terrible happened. The owner of the house, returning from work, walked in expecting to have lunch. Nothing unusual about that. But as soon as she opened the door to the garage, something was off. The front door was slightly ajar, and from upstairs, she could hear running water. When she went up to investigate, she was horrified by what she found. A trail of blood led her to the bathroom where Mike Emert's lifeless body lay, his clothes soaked and blood staining the floor around him. The murder was brutal. He had been stabbed 19 times.
My God.
19.
That's a lot.
A
That's
lot.
frenzied. Yeah.
Yes. His body was placed in the bathtub and the shower was running, presumably to wash away evidence. Now, let's talk about the crime scene. This wasn't a crime of passion. It wasn't a random act of violence. Everything about this murder pointed to one thing. Mike's death was meticulously planned.
But 19 times, that's a lot for being meticulous, you know?
I don't know. I don't think
Sounds I mean, I got to learn. I got to wait. I got to calm down. I'm too involved now. And where the hell is Steven?
Yeah, that's a
getting to
great
it.
question. Where
Sorry.
is Steven?
Sorry, I'm on the edge of my seat.
Where is Steven?
God.
Sorry, I'm Robert now. Investigators believe that the house's seclusion played a crucial role. The home was chosen specifically for its privacy, away from prying eyes. It's clear they knew exactly what they were doing. They also found that the killer was likely not a random stranger. They suspected that Steven, the seemingly harmless man with a limp, might have been hired to kill Mike. His handicap was a ruse, a clever way to make it seem like you couldn't have pulled off such a violent attack. But as we'll see, the details don't add up. One of the most interesting parts of the investigation was Steven's cane. Police believe that the cane might have been more than just a walking aid. It may have concealed a weapon, something used to stab Mike in such a violent manner.
That is some James Bond shit right there.
Right?
Yeah.
See, meticulously planned. And then there's the question of the running water. Investigators believe that the killer turned on the sinks and the shower, likely to wash away any physical evidence from the crime scene, including fingerprints or blood from the weapon. But here's where things get even stranger. Mike's expensive diamond ring and watch were taken, but investigators don't believe robbery was the motive. No.
It was
This
all
was
a trick.
a calculated hit, a professional job. But who would want Mike dead? The investigation dug deeper into Mike's life. They checked his history, his relationships, his business dealings, and even his coworkers. Everyone close to him. But they couldn't find a single person who had a clear reason to want him dead. There was no obvious motive. No one, absolutely no one, had been able to identify a clear enemy. And this mystery was like a cold, impenetrable wall. Even his wife, Mary Beth, was eliminated as a suspect early on.
That's who I immediately thought of.
I know, right? Actually feel really awful for her.
Oh, sorry, Mary Beth.
I know. I mean, it's always either the husband or the wife, so it's safe
Honestly.
to accuse that person right
Yeah.
away, I feel like, until they're proven innocent. Even though it should be innocent until proven guilty, but
Yeah.
here we are.
Hashtag, it's always the husband.
It's always the husband.
Anyway.
In fact, she even offered a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Mike's killer. But Stephen, the man who had met with Mike that day, remained the key suspect. So who was Stephen? Police pieced together his description. He was in his 50s, walked with a limp, had a cane, and spoke with an East Coast accent. He claimed to have been relocating from North Carolina, but there's one glaring problem. No one by that name seemed to exist. No records. One possible lead was a transient named Jeffrey Solo, who matched Stephen's description. Solo had a criminal past, including serving time for fraud. He was investigated and even cleared of any involvement in Mike's death. But here's the twist. Jeffrey Solo is also the father of the famous soccer player Hope Solo.
No way.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that a crazy little connection?
It is.
While Solo was cleared, the mystery surrounding Stephen remains technically unsolved. This is not done, though.
Yeah, I was like, that's a very short story. The end.
The end. All done. Sorry. Where's Stephen? Just when it seemed like the case had reached a dead end, new information surfaced in 2011 that reopened old wounds. In May of that year, investigators discovered DNA found at and near the crime scene that was linked to a man named Gary Kruger. Now, can we just pause for a moment with the last name Kruger?
I have friends with the same last name.
I know, but like Freddy Krueger, this
No, I
guy got
get it.
stabbed 19 times. Like, what is the irony?
There is an irony, especially the 19 times.
Yes. Kruger, a 62-year-old former police officer, had been dead for several months, having drowned in Lake Washington after fleeing the scene of a home invasion.
What?
Though he was involved in this home invasion, to be
This
clear.
is just getting wild.
Yes. But here's where things get even more chilling. Kruger wasn't just linked to Mike Emert's murder. He was also connected to the deaths of 3 other men: Mario Vaccarino, Jim Barry, and Terry Dolan. And if that wasn't enough, he's considered a suspect in the murder of Cheryl Gross, too. So what does this all mean? Was Kruger a hitman? If so, who hired him? The motive for Mike Emert's murder and the others still is shrouded in mystery. But there's another theory that adds another layer to this already complex case. After retiring as a police officer, Kruger briefly worked as a real estate agent. One of his possible victims, Jim Barry, was a real estate attorney, which raises the possibility that the murder could have been tied to real estate dealings. Perhaps Mike Emert's murder was more than just a hit. It could have been about something deeper in the world of real estate. And the plot thickens even further when we learn about Kruger's crime partner, John Allen Bradshaw. Bradshaw had a criminal past, convicted of arson and money laundering, and he too vanished after a home invasion. It's believed that Bradshaw may have drowned just like Kruger. What are the odds?
That is wild.
Yes. The question now is, was Kruger simply a hired gun? Was he part of a larger criminal operation? And if so, who was behind it all? The mystery of Mike's death continues to haunt investigators, and it seems the answers are still waiting to be uncovered. Mike's murder was a professional job, a cold, calculated execution. But why? If you have any information about the case, or if you've heard anything about a man matching Stephen's description, the authorities are still offering a $5,000 reward for any tips. We may not know who killed Mike Emert for certain, since Kruger has died, he's deceased, but the search for answers continue. If you have any thoughts or theories, be sure to reach out to us on social media. I am pretty sure it was Kruger. The police are pretty sure it was Kruger, but it's just unfortunate that he passed away a few months before they were able to connect the DNA.
Yeah. I thought for sure this was going to get solved here. I mean,
it's
waiting.
It's technically not unsolved. The evidence, how would his DNA get there?
Sure.
So, it's
real
pretty
estate,
conclusive, but
maybe he was showing, you just never know.
yes. So they can't officially say it's him, but
yeah.
they're pretty sure it was. My sources.
I was going to say you didn't do your sources yet.
My sources were Unsolved Mysteries, Wiki Fandom, the Seattle Times, Seattle PI, Cairo 7, and King 5.
Honestly, I was just waiting for you to be like, and this is exactly what happened. I was like, damn it. It's unsolved.
I know. I wish I knew. I'm sure. Mary Beth wishes she knew as well.
Of course.
It's just so sad. And honestly, it's so scary to think that you're going to show a house and somebody kills you.
Well, and was this, that's one of those things in those jobs where you have to meet strangers on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a little unnerving.
Yeah, and Mary Beth had mentioned how it was like unusual that they met at a place before they went to the house. She was like, that's really rare. We usually just meet them at the house.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Like in all her interviews, she was like, that was super strange. I don't know. And it wasn't the first time he had met this Stephen person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, he probably had his guard down even more at that point because it was the second time he had met him. And so at that point there, he's like, I'm just finding him a house, like,
yeah,
XYZ, and then
it's still odd. Maybe
so odd.
Maybe they were introduced by a middle person, and that's why they met first. But it's still very strange.
Yeah,
we don't know any of those details.
No, and it's unfortunate.
Autumn, you're gonna absolutely flip your lid when you find out we haven't had like a connection in a long time where our cases were very similar, but you're gonna be like, holy smokes. And
okay, I'm here for it.
I have another little bit at the very end that I'm gonna tell you that I didn't add into my case, but it's a fact that will be important. Anyway, okay, ready.
I am always ready.
I don't have a title for mine, so I'm just gonna jump right in. Patricia Ann Ross, known as Annie, was born August 14th, 1943. She had married young at age 18 to Frank Ross in Tucson, Arizona. The only problem was Annie really wanted to have children, but unfortunately Frank had had a vasectomy. So they did divorce. After they split, she said she still loved him and had some bouts of depression. Annie needed a change, so she packed up and moved to California. Frank would visit her occasionally, making sure that she settled in well. They still had a lot of love and care for one another. Annie smoked marijuana on occasion and drank socially. She was partial to screwdrivers, which I think was pretty trendy for the time, and wine. She sounds like a girl after my own heart. She dated a bit and started her own business with a partner, a plant business called Annie Green Things. I think is a really adorable name. Though she worked hard, the plant store struggled, and she and her business partner agreed to sell it for $3,000. The deal was struck in Annie's apartment for the sale the night before she was killed. The buyers gave her a cashier's check for $2,000, with the rest to be worked out later. Annie's partner knew that she needed the money more than them, so he agreed that the $2,000 should go to her directly, which was very kind.
That is really kind.
This was a fresh start for Annie, and things were looking up. She was planning to move to Redondo Beach and got an amazing new job as a secretary at an aerospace firm. No pun intended, but the sky was the limit. She was 31 years old and ready to take on the world. On December 11th, 1974, Annie was going to go on a double date with her best friend at her home in Seal Beach. Just before 5 p.m., she was leaving work, saying goodbye to the woman who just bought the plant shop, joking she had to get home to shave her legs because her hair was so long you could braid it.
Oh my God.
And honestly, I fall in love with Annie throughout this whole story. She was just,
You remember
she just
when
sounds,
I told you and Tim about me not shaving my legs?
your Sasquatch legs.
My Sasquatch legs.
Everyone puts on a winter coat. I don't care. Anyway, her last known words were said to these two women who were at the plant store. And she said, "I have a hot date that'll probably turn out to be lukewarm."
Oh, lame.
I know. And I love her.
I do. I love her too. Let's be more like Annie.
Right? When Annie got home, she hopped into the shower to freshen up. The attack must have happened quickly afterward because she was found nude and lying face down in her bed in her one-bedroom ground floor apartment in La Palma. Her right leg had cleanly been shaved, but her left leg was unshaven.
I'm sorry, but like, what a way to spend your last moments shaving your leg. I'm so sorry, Annie. You deserved better.
Deserved better. But it shows you that this happened while she was in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Her friend was very concerned that she hadn't shown up for the double date. So she went to her house around 8:15 p.m. and that's when she found Annie. Annie had a habit of leaving the sliding glass door open to her enclosed patio on her unit so that her small dog could get in and out and the fresh air would feed her beloved houseplants. Her brown leather purse was hanging on the doorknob of the bathroom, ready to go. The police found that it contained an open pack of Marlboro cigarettes, the cashier's check for $2,000 made out to Annie Green Things, and a few other items. Given that it was not touched, that left them to believe that the motive was not robbery. Neighbors told police it was unusual that the living room drapes had been drawn closed. The detectives noted that the sliding glass door was closed and locked, leading them to believe that the killer must have entered in through the slider and then left out the front door. There were no signs of forced entry. Annie had been strangled and sodomized. Detectives found traces of blood in the bathroom, bedroom, and on the inside of a window, but they didn't know whose blood it was. DNA collection was still more than 2 decades away from its infancy as an investigative tool, but luckily they collected everything. Based on interviews with residents of the Brookside apartment complex, they determined that Annie was attacked around 5:15 p.m., most likely when she was showering, and murdered between then and 5:45 p.m. The attack was so violent that her contact migrated from her eye to her cheek. Neighbors said that they didn't hear much, but they did hear her small dog barking around 5:15 p.m. But by 5:45, the barking had become muffled, and detectives did find the dog unharmed in a drawer. Authorities believed that the dog possibly bit the killer because they found blood that didn't seem like it matched the pattern of attack on Annie. Sadly, This was not much for detectives to go on. They interviewed the ladies at the plant store and ruled them out as maybe a business deal gone wrong. They talked to her neighbors and the date that she was meant to meet. Still nothing. The case goes cold. Eventually, the copious volumes of police reports, coroner findings, and evidence from the murder scene, plus other documents and materials, were stuffed into 3 large white boxes and began collecting dust in a room at the La Palma PD. Fresh eyes came back to the case in 1996. Detectives scoured the archives to try to see if something may have been missed. In 1997, they got a hit with DNA. The Orange County Sheriff's Crime Lab came back with a profile of an unknown male from blood that was found on her comforter and her window. This wasn't a lot, but it was something. The DNA was faceless, Detective Jim Engen said. We wanted to put a face on it. Sadly, again, the case goes cold. La Palma PD officially reopened the case in 2008 with the help of the Orange County District Attorney's Office and the Orange County Cold Case Homicide Task Force. In poring over all of the material, the name of an orthopedic resident who later became a surgeon, believed to be seeing Annie at the time of her death, came up. In an interview with Annie's best friend, the name had been brought up, but they found that no one had interviewed him at the time.
What? Why not?
I don't know. Now he was a very successful surgeon, and he was reluctant to participate, but eventually agreed to an interview. While they interviewed him, he acted nervous and refused to provide DNA. You're talking to me now? He asked detectives. The doctor denied knowing Annie at all. 2 days later, his lawyer...
Suspicious.
Right? 2 days later, his lawyer contacted La Palma detectives to tell them that his client would not provide a DNA sample and would not answer any more questions. Detectives had a strong feeling about him with his denial and put a tail on the doctor. They followed him, and luckily they were able to retrieve a cigarette butts and a paper cup that he used after drinking vodka in his car after he visited 2 liquor stores.
Like 2?
After his hospital shift. I'm glad they said after.
I mean, it doesn't really sound like... who knows? This guy's wild.
Yeah. They submitted his DNA to the Orange County Crime Lab. Unfortunately, he was not a match. Just a jerk. So it was time to get back to the drawing board. Now we're going to jump really far ahead to November 2008. Another name in the police report caught the attention of detectives, Paul Williams. He was living right above Annie's apartment when she was murdered, and though he said he hadn't seen or heard anything, they still felt like it was important to talk to him because 2 weeks after the murder, La Palma police paid Williams another visit. This time they had to question him about an unrelated incident. A female neighbor who lives across from him called the police after she saw from the inside of her apartment someone had turned the knob on her front door, which is my nightmare.
No kidding.
She didn't know Williams by name, but told the police that she thought he or the second man she often saw at his apartment might have been the ones trying to get into her apartment. He denied having anything to do with the incident, but this led detectives to ask him, who was this other man that was seen frequenting his place? My friend, Larry Stevens, Williams told him. That name, Larry Stevens, appears on page 34 of the original police report. Stevens was never interviewed back in 1974. So much time had passed, but at least they had his name. No middle name and no date of birth. Just another name to cross off the list of suspects, or not. Williams said he lost touch with him. They said that he had gone to school with him and provided a yearbook photo. They found the original police report and found that the name was spelled with a V instead of a PH. This was an important detail. They ran a criminal check and found arrests for domestic violence in 2007 and 2008. One police report described Stevens as putting his hand on the neck of his then wife. Remember, Annie had been strangled. The wife in the report told police that Stevens was quick to anger. It was time to follow up on this. Detectives talked to Williams and learned more about Stevens, including the name of his first wife, who was now living in Oceanside. They paid her a visit. She turned white when detectives showed up questioning her about her ex-husband. The woman told detectives that the 6-foot-tall, 190-pound Stevens was a drinker who would become violent, especially when he was drunk. They asked her, "Do you think he was capable of committing murder?" She said, "If he's mad enough, oh yeah." Detectives put a picture of his ex-wife next to a picture of Annie. They looked alike. She believed that he may have killed Annie for that very reason. Now they were off and running. Larry Stevens, after high school, was drafted by the U.S. Army and served in Vietnam for about a year driving ambulances. After returning home, he bounced around, performing odd jobs such as lumberjack in Oregon and working on a fishing boat in San Diego. At the time of Annie's murder, Stevens was divorced and not handling the breakup well. He left Orange County in 1977. He was now a person of high interest, but they didn't have enough to go on to get a warrant to collect his DNA. Now more years pass by. Periodically, detectives would run criminal checks on Stevens to see if anything turns up. After January 1st, 2009, any California resident arrested on suspicion of committing a felony had to provide a DNA sample via mouth swab. This is an important thing because on May 13th, 2015, they got a hit. When the call
2014?
2015.
Oh, 15.
When the call came in from the Orange County Crime Lab, they said, "We have some news. We have a hit on your 1974 homicide." The lead detective didn't wait for the name. Larry Clark Stevens? Yep. In mid-March 2015, Stevens, now a retired postal worker, had been arrested on suspicion of felony domestic violence and some other charges in Sonoma County. That's why when they passed that law, he had to get mouth swabbed.
Oh.
He and his current wife had been drinking. When Santa Rosa cops showed up to confront him, Stevens approached them holding 2 butcher knives. He almost got shot. They had to use a taser to subdue him. So he sounds fun. After the DNA hit, investigators made a plan to visit him while he was out on bail. The detectives saw Stevens exit his mobile home, and they approached him. He was wearing white shorts, sneakers, and a blue-collared shirt. It was about 3:15 p.m. on June 1st. Stevens was going for a walk. They identified themselves as officers with the La Palma PD. They said Stevens was friendly. He denied ever knowing Patricia Annie Ross, or ever being in her apartment. After an hour of talking to him, detectives arrested him without incident and on suspicion of killing her. On June 6th, Stevens made a court appearance in Sonoma County to answer for the domestic violence charges. He was sentenced to 16 months in jail for the misdemeanor of spousal battery and felony obstructing an officer. The judge ruled that he can serve that sentence in any penal institution. Sadly, now being prosecuted for Annie's murder, her parents would never know the justice as they had passed away. But her brother was there the whole time looking for closure. In court, Annie's brother spoke out about the loss of his 31-year-old sister. "She was at the center of our family," he said. "When she died, my parents almost died from grief."
God, that breaks my heart.
He added of the defendant, "This person does not need to be exposed to freedom anymore." Shortly after his arrest, his wife Susan Stevens told the Press Democrat in Santa Rosa. She was shocked by the murder, but she said he had a violent temper and that the couple was evicted from a Santa Rosa mobile home park a few years ago because neighbors complained about their fighting. She told them that Stevens punched her in the face in March after she had asked him to stop watching sports on TV. And that was when she subsequently called 911. So was it that shocking that he possibly murdered someone? I don't think so. She said she was shocked to newspapers, but
Yeah, I'm thinking
has
the
a long
signs were
history
all
of this.
there.
in the trial, an excerpt was read from a letter that he wrote to his wife after his arrest, in which it says, "I know I'm a monster, and in some ways, this might be for the best." Larry Clark Stevens, age 68, was found guilty of one felony count of first-degree murder of Annie Ross. He was sentenced to life in prison. I think it's also notable that had the dog not have bit him, we may never have gotten to this conclusion with the DNA. So, good on you, dog.
Good on dog's best as man's best friend.
They're the best.
Mm-hmm.
The main detectives on this case were Jim Engen and Paul Bracciodietta. Paul said, yes, there was science involved, but it was about the details in the original report. It took a fresh set of eyes and a lot of laborious research and analyzing of so much information that was in the original 1974 crime report, and some of which was not in it at all. They spent countless hours off the clock working on the Annie Ross case over the years. The evidence folder had a black and white photo of Annie smiling, and on it was 4 words in all caps below the image: "We will never forget." It was our only unsolved homicide, Detective, now Captain, Jim Engen said, and we wanted to find justice for Annie. Detective Paul Bracciodietta looked up from the photos and said, cold cases are never a lost cause. My sources were BehindTheBadge.com, the Los Angeles Times, the Orange County Register, SF Gate, and True Crime News.
Oh my gosh, you were right. Like the like being killed in a bathroom.
Stevens.
Yeah.
Steven and Stevens. And I didn't include this, but her ex-husband, Frank Ross, I think they always loved each other, but he offered a $5,000 reward for information about the murder after it happened.
Connections again.
I know, because his wife
It's been a
also
long time.
It's been a long time since we've been that close to things.
We're getting in the groove.
But thank God for that damn dog for biting him. And
yeah.
They said that that's the reason why they think there was blood.
Good job, pup.
Way to go. A goodest boy.
The goodest.
So, that was my case. I wanted to do something. I was researching and I wanted to do something that would be, a doggy hero in this one because they are the best.
They are.
They are. But I cannot believe that we had so many things. The $5,000 reward, the name Stevens.
Stevens.
So I just was glad that they finally found closure for her brother.
Mm-hmm.
But it took 40 years.
That's so long.
It's so long to just sit and wait. And I'm so glad. I'm so sad that her parents never got to.
I know that breaks my
that.
heart in a million pieces.
Yeah. And she was 31, taking on the world. It was the 70s. Women were starting to break out on their own. And
She had a lukewarm date.
She had a lukewarm date and she was joking about it. You could just see that she was a fun-loving, that everything that I read said she was just charismatic and she made you feel like you were her friend when she just met you.
Oh,
I know.
I love that.
I know. I was like,
sad.
we
want to be friends with Annie.
I loved her. Everything about her, that she was fun-loving, didn't seem to take things so seriously with that she smoked weed and drank screwdrivers and wine and hung out with her friends and was, kind of a happy social lady. And she tried to own her own business. Though it didn't work out, she had this great other job she was about to start, It was just very close to, moving forward.
Man, that was a good one.
Yeah.
A good sad one, though.
A good sad one. But, I also like that the investigators were so diligent and they never gave up on it. They just kept at it years and years and years.
If I wasn't at my current job, I think I would want to be a detective.
Hell yeah. That would be the most fun.
Just thinking about it.
Autumn is the best internet sleuth. If
It's
you can't
true.
find somebody,
I really am.
she'll find him for you.
Honestly, it's a hidden talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's great though.
I'm very handy. It's like my party trick.
Yeah. If you went to parties.
If I was a partier and went to parties, it would be my party trick.
I feel like I've only been dragging you to parties since we were teenagers.
And this is accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very accurate.
Yep. I still invite you to parties.
Yes. Yeah.
But do I think you're going to be able to make it?
Perhaps not. It's always a shock when I do.
Yeah.
I try to make it to Lucy's birthdays, though.
Yeah, the kid ones.
Well, not because they're like during the day, like a kid party, but I mean,
you're like, after I watched an episode of Ghost Rider, I will come down and see and hang out.
It's because I love your daughter. That's why.
But not me, guys.
No, I love you too. Stop it. I do. But
yeah,
I'm going to always show up for your daughter.
Autumn's not a night person.
No, I'm really not. It's so hard. I'm in bed by 9.
Yeah.
And I sleep by 9:30.
And we all know by now I'm a night owl. So
if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't fall asleep, if I text her, I know she's responding.
Yeah, almost
not
always.
A question in my mind.
Yep. That's how it goes. Well, do follow our Instagram page.
Yes. And Murder Not Murdering.
And we will have postings of both of these cases, especially because Autumn's is still unsolved. So we'll make sure to have that phone number there for you.
Technically unsolved, but
we think
Kruger did it.
Hey, if somebody has any information on Steven /Kruger,
if it's not Kruger, or if they know why Kruger did it, then
you never know. You never know what you're going to find.
Never know.
So we are going to post it on there. Do look out for that. Do make a review of our podcast. Hopefully nice. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.